going to pick up a point about the evidence base really and the process that you've gone through in looking at the county as a whole and coming to conclusions on where housing is going to go and numbers of houses. I mean, we look at the numbers individually when we get to it, just the split of numbers, particularly Hereford, which is raised by
Yes, I mean, the plan has evolved. It's been, as you mentioned earlier, an iterative process in terms of quantums and distribution of housing. The quantums originated from the Regional Spatial Strategy, West Midlands Regional Spatial Strategy originally. We started out with 16,600 and then we moved to 18,000, as I've explained in matter statement 2. In the table back. With the revocation of the RSS, the emerging national policy, it's left to the council to determine their own housing needs, and that set the course of action for where we are today. In terms of distribution, again, that was set originally by the RSS in terms of half of the housing going to Hereford. That was the sort of starting point of this whole process. And the quantum since then have evolved through a process of evidence-based production and consultation, basically, and the sustainability appraisals process, which was constantly reviewed and reassessed and appraised the stance that the policies in the plan have taken.
So have you looked at a number of options in terms of numbers for the county? Have you looked at the numbers for Hereford? How have you done that?
Through the revised preferred option background paper, we assessed a variety of different options.
I was just going to add.
Sorry, just your name?
Tara Billington. I worked on the sustainability appraisal, and it's as set out in the council's response to this matter in table 2. There's a summary of each of the options that was considered at each stage in the plan-making process, the number of homes, and the overall spatial distribution options that were being considered at each stage. And there's a reference to the relevant sections of the sustainability appraisal report. The final sustainability appraisal report last year that was submitted has a detailed summary in chapter 2 of all the options that were being considered at each stage, including the overall spatial distribution. And it also has in appendix 2 a table which sets out at each stage what were the options that were being considered. And in front of that table in appendix 2 of the sustainability appraisal report, it goes through the overall spatial strategy options at the developing option stage in 2008, place shaping data stage in 2010, preferred options, draft core strategy, and then obviously what ended up in the pre-submission core strategy. And it also just summarises the findings of the sustainability appraisal at each stage in that process, which are in more detailed reports that are presented for consultation alongside the plan at that stage. So the distribution between Hereford and market towns and rural areas was considered through those spatial strategy options and appraised through sustainability appraisal at each stage. And the various positive and negative environmental effects of each of those options was considered, but it's fair to say that within sustainability appraisal, at that has helped to inform the work that's being done by the council and other agencies to try and get things in place such as and policies. SD3 and SD4 have been improved through the findings of the sustainability policy.
What I want to do, can I just say about, I'll come back to you, Mrs. Morgan, but it is sort of related to your point. As part of the discussion for SS3, I want to explore the constraints that are set out in the justification where some of these things are set out and what the implications are for delivery. So it will sort of be followed on as well into the next policy session. But do you want to come back?
Yes. With regard to, I wonder, in view of the comments made under RA1 and RA2 in the Council's responses, that it was mainly a desktop exercise was undertaken to identify constraints and sensitivities of all sites. I just wonder what evidence they were working on, bearing in mind I've already referred that the environmental records have not been updated since 2007. And we know there are huge gaps in large areas of the county, not just on minerals, because one of the strategic sites of Hereford seems to be located on a mineral reserve site. So obviously she's taken that into, effect. But also, I couldn't find anywhere the economic assessment either. So that one question is on what evidence base were they using Hereford environmental and biological records, archaeological and historical assessing sustainability. And B, where is the economic assessment of the loss of high-grade agricultural land vis-à-vis low-grade agricultural land? Now this goes back to it being nationally a scarce resource, and we've got to take consideration to national requirements for food security and issues like that. But I couldn't find that, but it might well be she's got it in another document.
Yes. This is to do with the numbers in the rural areas compared to the numbers in Hereford. Just suggesting that.
I'm just wondering, the evidence that has come in the council statement shows that much of the SLA and the assessment of the other sites was a desktop exercise.
Yes.
And I think, that's what they've actually said.
I just want to explore the issue. So this is SS2, policy SS2, looking at where the housing is going and the numbers in particular. This is to do with the numbers in the rural area.
No, this is to do with the whole plan for Herefordshire. Is the whole plan sustainable? Bearing in mind biological records haven't been updated since 2007. It indicates from council submissions that they've only ever done a desktop exercise.
So it's about whether how those constraints are taken into account.
So how can LUC do a sustainability appraisal on working on whether, in accordance with the MPF, this level of housing is sustainable if it's all done on out-of-date evidence? Cost-benefit calculations have not been provided. There's no mapping of the value and benefit of land use. And it's just a desktop exercise, really.
Thanks. Yeah, so it's about the evidence that you used, and in particular environmental issues which are raised, and economic assessment of the loss of land and the value that land has.
The evidence that we used comes from a range of sources, and most of those are referred to in the footnotes in chapter 3 of the sustainability appraisal, which sets out all the baseline situation in Herefordshire as in relation to different elements of environment, society and economy, and drew heavily also from the council's own annual monitoring reports and information on the website, but where specific other sources of information, such as different reports they collate all sorts of spatial information in terms of agricultural land or biodiversity designations, flood risk areas, all sorts of environmental information is mapped and available either from nationally publicly accessible sources such as Central England or from data sets that the Council holds themselves and provided to us. In terms of a cost-benefit analysis, that's not really something that is commonly done through sustainability appraisal. The sustainability appraisal is a strategic assessment. It has to look at a number of different environmental, social and economic factors in the same level of detail across the whole range of policies in the plan. And so it necessarily can't go into the same detailed level of assessment that, for example, an environmental impact assessment might do on one particular site. So in terms of comparing cost benefits of different grades of agricultural land, that wasn't undertaken through sustainability appraisal. But there are essay objectives that were looking at sustainable resource use, and we also were looking at where the focus on previously developed land was, and acknowledged that there was going to be a loss of greenfield land through delivery of the numbers of housing in spatial strategy. But in terms of looking at the overall housing numbers and options for growth, particularly at the early stages in the plan, it's very difficult to make those detailed assessments because the specific spatial locations haven't been identified. So we were able to make broad judgments about where greenfield land would be lost, or where the positive effects of reuse and brownfield land was going to occur.
Mrs. Rees?
Yeah. Can I just add, in terms of the environmental record, the Council has an exhaustive evidence base in this respect, and we do consider it to be robust and sufficient to provide for the strategy in this instance. There are various other guidance documents produced by other agencies that we use, and as I say, they are considered to be robust for the purposes of the strategy. In terms of agricultural land, this issue is covered in the policies on the policy response on SS6, which will be coming to later on.
I'm just going to see, I'm going to come back to Mr. Morris, but Councillor Norman, did you want to make a comment?
I did, please, yes. Following on from that, really, and relating more to lengths, but very much to do with the constraints which we perceive to be on the housing being proposed there. A range of things were already mentioned, agricultural land, greater agricultural land, but also things like lack of employment, where is the evidence or information about the employment that would be available for, 2,300 new houses and people who live in them. The impact on the River Arrow, this is related to the earth research, of course, and that concerns we have. But also things like access to adequate hospital provision, which certainly up in the north of the county concerns us considerably. We don't have anything else we reach over our borders. Road capacity is a particular concern. The A44 is already an extremely busy road, well over capacity, I might say, at the moment. Serious air pollution problems, which are not being addressed. We're told they will be, but we keep being told that they're not. And the idea of adding a further 2,000 odd houses and the number of cars that go between that road is extremely concerning for many of us. And finally, that's not finally, but additionally, the fact that our technical term is connectivity, the number of roads and rail we have and all that is not good. We have a rail line, we're lucky to have it, but it only goes north-south. It doesn't link with some of the major cities like Birmingham, not very well. And the road itself is a single carriageway road most of the way, the A49 and again, it's limited in terms of its access to some of the major employment areas. So we feel those are all very considerable constraints, which we don't think have been addressed properly. I'd be glad to know where the evidence that they have been is. And the final point is we've talked about housing and the need for affordable housing. Leinster appears to have been only allocated, or it's suggested 25%, which we would say is far too low.
We'll come on to that as a separate issue. Dr. Is it Geeson? Is that how it's pronounced?
It's actually.
Is it soft G?
It's actually a hard G, but those of us with silly names will accept virtually anything you care to call us.
I'm just saying.
If that's all right with you.
Yes,
I'm still on the constraints, sustainability, and the overall distribution of numbers between policy SS2, 6,500, 4,000 travel in there. So that's where my comments are from. I'm firmly in the camp that there is an overemphasis on Hereford. I'd like to remind everybody in the room that it's going to cost over £500 million in the next 16 years of investment to make this most sustainable location sustainable. Now, those figures come from the infrastructure delivery plan, and I admit that some items are not Herefordshire. Equally, quite a lot are not costed. And strangely, it may be one thing that links both sides of this debate, that there is huge uncertainty about how that is going to be funded. So if Hereford is truly the most sustainable location, it's going to take a building programme that we've never seen at huge costs to make it. And just to finish off that point, agricultural land has already been talked about. That produces over £40 million a year of subsidies for Herefordshire people and farmers, and we reduce the amount we've got of good land at our peril. I think to say that somewhere that isn't on a motorway has only one workable bridge across a major river is the most sustainable. When there are other locations that are on motorways, it is actually wrong. In terms of the data and the information, I can't agree with Herefordshire Council or indeed LUC. The data is in many cases old and there are many gaps. GISs were mentioned. I know many people who have been feeding information into Herefordshire Council over a good number of years, and still does not feature on any of their records. There is a long term of that, and anyone who is having anything to do with neighbourhood plans knows that equally well. So there is an issue with the data and therefore with the sustainability assessments. Moving on slightly, national data is only up to date if it's fed from local inputs, and the national data is no better. I just got one or two other points, but maybe, Madam, I can come back to those at a later time. But there's just one procedural point. I am slightly concerned, and perhaps you can give me some guidance. We're talking increasingly about coming back to other items. Some of those are not actually listed to appear around the table for those other items.
Oh, well then you must say whatever it is today.
Okay, but so we will all bear that in mind, because it might not just be the issue of not being around the table, it might be that we're not actually available and there's already been a so okay, well in future when I come to something, if I'm not slated to be around the table, I will mention it. Thank you for that guidance.
Mrs. Morawiecka, did you have a final point you wanted to make?
Yes, I did want a clarification as to where I thought to be in accord with the MPPG that they should have undertaken an economic assessment of the loss of high-grade agricultural land. But the council
of the NPPG you're referring to?
Paragraph 026. I think it is reference 98, I know 026.
And that's to do, that's the plan?
Yes, it says the National Planning Policy Framework expects local planning authorities to take into account the economic and other benefits of the best and most versatile agricultural land. This is particularly important in plan making when decisions are made on which land should be allocated for development. Where significant development of agricultural land is demonstrated to be necessary, local planning authorities should seek to use areas of poorer quality land in preference to that of higher quality. I don't know where this assessment has